Welcome to Hot July and this month's City Scene. We're going to be talking about a new program that the Sioux Falls Police Department is involved in. We're going to also talk about the warning signs of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. And finally, we're going to talk about some wonderful, large, furry new friends at the Great Plains Zoo. Hi everybody, and welcome to July City Scene. This month, we're going to kick it off with Lieutenant Kyle Hoekstra out here at the Law Enforcement Center. We're going to talk about an important new program that the city has created. Hi.
Hi there.
Thank you so much for joining us here. So let's talk about what we have in place right now in the city for drug enforcement and then the changes that we're going to make.
Right now within the city of Sioux Falls, we have a drug task force. The drug task force consists of city officers, county officers, state officers, and also federal officers.
Okay.
It's coordinated out of our building here.
How many folks are in that?
It kind of varies with personnel. Within the city, we have less than 10. County, I think we're at 2. And then state, that really varies with personnel numbers, and then also our federal partners.
Okay, so that's a pretty good umbrella.
Yes.
And now Mayor Tenhaken has decided, I'm sure with you, that we're all going to create something new. And what is the name for the new program?
We refer to it as the NCU, or Narcotic Crime Unit.
Oh, and where are these officers coming from? Are we hiring new officers?
These 2 officers will be eventually taken from patrol.
Okay. And
they just will be reassigned underneath we would call it the narcotics section umbrella.
Okay, and do you think, I suppose all of our officers have worked in drug enforcement, and so this probably isn't going to be anything really new to them, but let's talk a little bit about some of the special duties they'll be doing.
You know, officers out in the street, obviously they're answering calls, stopping cars, and they're dealing with those narcotic situations in their daily work. When those officers come up to the Detective Bureau, their roles will obviously change, where they're going to be assigned cases. They're going to be assigned, we'll say, Crime Stoppers tips, different other tips to do follow-up on, and then also be a part of that team when they go out and do operations and that sort of thing.
Okay, so these are sort of the folks that are on the ground. They're going to dive into it a little bit better. So are these the folks that maybe are trying to get to those end users, and then that information we can go after the big fish?
I guess what we kind of envision is, you know, right now with the way the task force is set up, obviously we're always trying to get to that next level, that higher level. With the new addition, it'll be continue to be a proactive group, but they'll be able to concentrate more on, we would call them kind of your quality of life complaints. They're still going to work, obviously, with the team, but when some of those quality of life complaints come in, we'll say like a Crime Stoppers tip, they'll have the ability to go out and follow up on that tip, whereas some of the task force members, if they're involved in a we'll say a bigger case, we'll have...
They won't be pulled away.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the statistics and what Sioux Falls has been facing, over the last few years. I know the numbers are staggering, the increase in narcotics coming into the community.
Well, just off the top of my head, between 2015 and 2017, I think our people arrested for meth possession is right around 77%. Our meth distribution numbers, people arrested for distribution between 2015 and 2017 is 62%.
You're saying up those numbers?
Yes, it's increased by those amounts.
And those numbers are, as someone who lives in this community, and has a child, those numbers are staggering. And are those numbers, people who are living in the community, are they coming from other countries? What's happening?
Obviously, it can be anybody within our community.
Right.
It can be somebody that just moved into the community. It can be people that have lived here for quite some time. It can be young people, old people.
Or people driving through on the interstate.
Yes. Obviously, with the increased personnel, we're very appreciative of that.
Absolutely.
It just allows us to be more proactive in our efforts.
Which is what you guys always want to be.
Correct.
So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Hi again, everybody. It's Shannon Austin here on the east side of the city, and we are here today to give you an update on the construction of Veterans Parkway. We welcome back to the show Mike from the DOT. Mike, welcome.
Hey.
We haven't been out here for a while, but there's been a lot of stuff going on.
We have had a lot going on.
We're going to start on the section of Veterans Parkway from Maple Street to Rice Street. Now, that was open in 2017, and now we're in 2018, and we still see some dirt moving around. What's going on?
Correct. So where we're at right now, obviously all of our pavement is in, with the exception of our shared use path. The contractor, we gave him until the end of July to finish the shared use path. You'll see work going on in the median. We'll have a couple of lane closures out here along Veterans Parkway to accomplish that work. But come the end of July, we're expecting everything to be opened up.
So what kind of features are you putting in the median?
In the median side of things, there will be a grass median as well as planters and different types of plants
Okay.
and
So much similar to what we have on the southern portion of Veterans Park?
Correct. As you go and proceed south towards our finished project that was completed in 2016 and 2017,
Okay.
this stretch will look very similar to that.
Okay, keeping the same theme along the parkway.
Correct.
All right, so I've actually seen some people out here using or walk in the shoulder, which isn't necessarily that shoulder, and the southern portion is a shoulder, but in the north portion it is a driving lane, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a different typical section.
Will be. We will have 3 lanes open to traffic, and it will be striped with permanent striping before the project is complete.
Okay. Well, then as we come through Rice Street, then as we look behind us, there's a lot of dirt that's been moved.
There has.
So what is the contractor working on right now?
Okay, so on our next project, it's the $54.5 million project.
Okay.
It was let to Riley Brothers, based out of Morris, Minnesota.
Okay.
They have about 20% of the dirt moved on the project. There's 1.3 million cubic yards of dirt that need to be moved out here.
Wow.
So that's a lot.
That's a lot.
So we got about 20 to 30% of that dirt moved already. You'll see we've done some pipe gallery work, storm sewer work. We've got force main work ongoing out here. We have a subcontractor working on the structures down here as well. So there's a lot of work going on. As far as traffic effects, obviously Timberline is closed to traffic.
Okay.
Redwood Boulevard is closed to traffic at the I-90 interchange, as well as 60th Street North.
Okay, so when you're driving on Rice Street, you'll see some big, I guess, holes, which are detention ponds on the east side of Veterans Parkway. Can you explain briefly to our viewers what detention ponds are used for?
Detention ponds are to help in the before condition. Water flowed across this stretch. Obviously, we're filling this roadway substantially. We're filling anywhere between 60 and 70 feet, and so that blocks water. So we need to have that water act the same way as it did before. So a detention pond kind of helps meter that water to get through so it performs the way it did in the before.
Okay, and then we're going to jump down to look at the structure by the Big Sioux River, but we do have a couple of structures right off of Rice Street, right?
Correct.
And those are what?
So right off of Rice Street here, there's a structure that is going to be going over the Eastern and Ellis Railroad.
Okay.
There will be MSE rock walls built on either side of the railroad. So you will see as you come down Veterans Parkway and look out, Veterans Parkway will go over the top
Okay.
of the existing Eastern and Ellis. That'll stay at the same grade. We will be about 20 feet higher.
Okay, but the Rice Street and Veterans Parkway intersection stays permanent right
Yes.
now, right?
What
Okay.
you see out here currently is what we're going to have in the end.
Okay, well, let's go take a look at the bridge.
All right, sounds great.
Okay, well, we are here on the old timber line and Big Sioux River Bridge, which doesn't look very much used anymore, but right behind us they are building the new structures. And Mike, tell us what they're doing.
Okay, so currently you'll see behind us they are building Pier 2, which is one of the substructure members. I believe there are 6 substructure members along on this structure.
Okay.
There will actually be 2 structures built over the Big Sioux River, and you can see there's also a railroad behind us. That's the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad. So the bridge will span both the railroad and the Big Sioux River. Both bridges are 964 feet long.
Is that longer?
That is longer than most bridges that we typically build. I would say it's about 3 times the size of an average bridge.
Wow. And why do we have the 2 structures?
The 2 structures has to, we've split them apart more from a maintenance side, so we can get our inspection equipment down underneath to make sure the bridges are safe after we get them built.
Okay, so these structures will be completed in 2018, or are they pretty much going to go into 2019?
No, these structures will go into 2019.
Okay.
At this point, it's pretty tough to tell where we're going to be at in general, but if everything follows the schedule that the contractor's given us to this point, is all the substructure will be built, girders will be set, and we may be doing some bridge deck work over the winter for a spring bridge deck pour.
Okay, so then further to the north, near the I-90 and Arrows exit,
Yep.
There's no work going on yet. Is there any work expected at that interchange this year?
There will be work on the south half of the interchange.
Okay.
We'll be building the on-ramp and off-ramp. The nice part is there won't be any effects to traffic because the new ramps do not touch the old alignment.
Okay, and then 60th Street North was also getting realigned. Are they grading that work right now?
Right now, the contractor has all of 60th Street graded. They have what we call select subgrade topping. It helps kind of solidify our roadway section. That has been placed already, and they're working on the Redwood Boulevard, and as well from the interchange south here to the structure. They'll start grading here in the coming weeks.
So as we look towards that direction, we see a lot of scrapers. What are they all just doing there?
So you will see this contractor currently has 12 scrapers. I have heard that he's bringing 4 to 5 more.
16?
16 scrapers.
Wow, that's a lot of dirt.
That is a lot of dirt, but again, on this project, there's 1.3 million cubic yards of dirt, so we need a lot of equipment to get it moved around. Following the contractor's current schedule, he hopes to have the majority of his grading done on this section of roadway from the interstate south all done and complete in 2018.
Okay, and so the final completion again was when?
The overall completion for this entire project
Yes.
is August of 2020.
So there's still a lot of work to be done.
We still have a ton of work to do. This is really scratching the surface on this project. Again, it's a $54.5 million project. On this portion of it in 2018, we'll be doing the majority of the dirt work. In 2019, we'll be concentrating our work on the I-90 interchange.
Okay.
And that has a completion date of November of 2019.
Okay,
So we will have the interchange back open to traffic by November of 2019.
okay.
And then, like I say, an overall completion date with traffic flowing of August of 2020.
Now, remind our viewers, the last time we talked, there is an incentive on this project.
There is.
What are the two different incentives?
I want to say there is a substantial completion. That is the 2019 to have it open to traffic.
Okay.
And then there's an overall to have it fully open.
Okay, so with our drivers being impacted, there is an incentive on that contractor to move ahead.
Correct.
Very
Yes,
good.
it is definitely incentivized.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I don't know if we'll wait another month to come back out, but there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. It's a lot of stuff to see.
Thanks
for sure.
so much for your time.
You bet.
A sump pump can be your first line of defense against getting water in your basement.
Don't wait until it's too late to verify your sump pump is working properly. Make sure your hose discharges into your yard away from your house or into a stormwater or sump pump collection system. Never discharge into a sink, toilet, shower, or floor drain. Also, consider a backup system in case your home loses power. For more information, go to the city's website at siouxfalls.org/sump pump.
My hero is my neighbor because she rakes the lawn for me when I can't.
She's always there whenever anyone needs a helping hand.
My teacher is my hero because she always makes time for everyone.
Welcome back. As you know, July is always a really hot month in Sioux Falls. Up next is Steve Fessler with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, explaining the signs and symptoms of heat stroke and heat exhaustion and what you should do.
Hi, this is Division Chief Steve Fessler with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, and today I'm talking with Tim Neutron. He's one of our fire apparatus operators on Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, and something I wanted to talk to him a little bit about was at this time of year, it's starting to heat up, getting warmer out, and people are going to be involved with a lot of outdoor events and activities, working, and it's getting hot, and some of the things we should be aware of when it comes to the heat exposure. There's a couple different things, heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Kind of give me a little bit of the difference between the two and give me a little information on them.
All right, well, heat exhaustion is going to come first, and that's you're going to feel yourself, getting fatigued, warm, you're going to have sweats, your skin's going to start sweating, you'll be pale, flushed, excessive sweating, you're going to have a rapid, weak pulse, and just not feeling real good. So at that time, you'd want to get in out of the sun, get into some shade or some air conditioning, and hydrate.
Okay.
You know, don't wait till you're thirsty to hydrate. We recommend hydrating beforehand. At least, you know, if you're going to do some excessive exercise or working out, 12 to 24 ounces every hour you should be drinking. You know, either water or cold or sports drinks will be good. So, and then best way to probably see how dehydrated you are is a urine.
Okay.
Just look at your urine chart, and I have that right here. So you want to be up in the upper clear colors to a little yellow, not the dark colors. You know,
the darker, you're more dehydrated, and the worse off
the worse you're going to be, and that's going to probably put you into your heat stroke, which is a severe medical emergency.
And what are we looking at with a heat stroke?
You're going to quit sweating, and you're going to have a rapid, weak pulse, or strong pulse, excuse me, and you may lose consciousness. You're going to get severe diarrhea, nausea, possibly. It could be fatal to your internal organs, your muscles, your brain. Death could occur. It's a very serious medical emergency.
So there is a definite point where you should look at calling 911 when you're in these situations.
Absolutely. If you stop sweating, get a throbbing headache, your skin becomes red, dry, and hot, then definitely call 911 at that point.
That's an area where you really want to be on your toes,
absolutely.
Call 911 and get going. You know, especially for us, a lot of the calls that we go on, the majority of the calls we go on are EMS. So that's why we're really, you know, we take a close look at this area at this time of year, just so that people are aware of this type of stuff and what to be prepared for as they're going outside and at these events and working in different things. Right. Is there anything else with that you think we should know right offhand?
Yeah, with heat stroke, if you actually are having that, you know, for sure get an air conditioning warm or cool yourself down and do some ice or some cool packs in the armpits, the groin, the neck, or the back. You know, you get to the hospital, you may get put in an ice bath to get your temperature down.
Yeah, they want to cool you
heat
off.
stroke, it's probably around 103 degrees your temperature's going to be and up, you know, so it's a severe deal.
Dangerous situation.
Dangerous,
when it's there.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate
it.
Well, if you'd like to learn more about Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, go to www.siouxfalls.org.
Thanks, Steve. Well, we've talked about the heat, and now it's time to talk about, I didn't like my eyes there. You see my eyes? I felt it. Thanks, Steve. Well, we've just talked about the heat, and now it's time to talk about the bugs that come with the heat. Let's learn about the city's control program for the mosquitoes.
We've officially reached summertime here in Sioux Falls, and it's time to enjoy all of those outdoor sporting events, concerts, and family picnics. What we don't always enjoy are the pesky mosquitoes that come with summertime. Not only are they pesky, but sometimes they can be harmful to our health. So we're here with Denise Patton from the City of Sioux Falls Health Department and the Vector Control Program to talk about what the city is doing and maybe what some of us as citizens can do to help mitigate this number of mosquitoes and some of our risk. So thanks for joining us today, Denise.
Thank you.
Talk to us a little bit about what the city is doing currently to help decrease the number of mosquitoes that we have.
You know, I think most people believe when they hear mosquito control that all we do is spray. You know, that's the most visual part of our program. But we do a lot of other things. In fact, we have staff out as early as the end of April looking for water, treating it with environmentally safe products, and trying to get them before they emerge out of the water and want to bite people. So, I mean, we're treating hundreds of sites all the time. And, you know, only when those adult numbers get too high do we resort to the spraying part. So we're doing a lot of surveillance, treatment, education, spraying, you know, the whole thing.
Okay. With the amount of rain that we've had this year, are we doing anything different?
You know, this program is so weather dependent, as I'm sure you can imagine, and certainly a lot of rain in the spring brings about a lot of mosquitoes a little earlier than maybe they would on a dry year. With all the flooding and things that have happened, there certainly is a lot more water than usual, and as a result we get a lot more of our biting nuisance mosquitoes. So we're not necessarily doing things different, but we're noticing larger numbers, and when those events happen, we react to them with either spraying, additional treating, things like that.
Is there anything we can predict for the rest of the summer about how many mosquitoes we will have, or is it just you have to go week by week with what the weather is doing?
You know, the state has actually come up with some really great models and formulas where they're looking at environmental conditions, historical data, our West Nile virus positive pools. So when we collect mosquitoes from a certain date at a certain location, we'll test them to see if they have West Nile virus present in them. So all of that data kind of gets put together, and they can kind of make some pretty accurate predictions. Earlier in the season, they were saying this might be kind of a mild to moderate year. More recently, they have changed that to more of a moderate to high year. And I think it's because, again, water and heat and all those things are making the disease prevalent a little sooner than it has in the past. But, you know, we could have a really dry year and it's going to look one way, a really wet year different. So predictions are just predictions.
Okay. And when we're talking about those health concerns, we are talking about West Nile virus that some mosquitoes carry. Do we have any other concerns about any new viruses or anything different? We've had Zika in the past that has not affected us here in South Dakota. Is there anything new this year?
You know, there really isn't, but people, you know, if you're looking up mosquito diseases, there's a lot of them, and South Dakota, areas in the Midwest do often see other ones just kind of trickle in here and there, people that travel, etc. And of course, Zika is the one outside of West Nile that people talk about the most. We're still doing some additional surveillance to see if that ever pops up, if the mosquitoes that spread that are ever found. So we'll be the first to know if it does. But really, we always want to remind people West Nile actually is among the worst. I mean, the way it could make you sick. So it is definitely here. It's not going anywhere. That's our number one concern. People just need to take appropriate protection measures and, you know, just be aware that any disease is a bad disease. We don't want them, but West Nile is kind of the primary one.
Okay. And so when we talk about that, we've heard what the city is doing in the parks and some of the public places. What can homeowners or people do on their own property to help decrease the number of mosquitoes that might breed there?
You know, I think everybody has heard these things over and over again, but you just can't stress it enough, especially after really, really large rainfall events. You know, even just divots in your yard where, you know, somebody stepped and it's, you know, holding a little water. All of those places do present potential areas for mosquitoes to breed. So just doing a sweep through your yard, making sure there's nothing standing. If it rains, go out again and do it again. And then, of course, wearing long sleeves, avoiding going out at dusk and dawn if you can. And, of course, wearing bug spray. But there's everything from super natural green things to the heavy-duty DEET stuff. You know, it's all a personal preference, but something is better than nothing.
So, Denise, in looking at your yard and some of those things where you could find some standing water, how long would it take for a mosquito to actually breed in something like a bird bath or a pot that's sitting out in your yard that doesn't have anything in it other than water? How long does it take?
You know, the mosquito life cycle from the time an egg is laid in water to the time it emerges out is a week. And that's if the weather's nice. Of course, if it gets too cold, that could slow down a little bit. But really, it only takes a week. So when you're looking at things in your yard, if it's going to sit there for 5 to 7 days or longer, that's something you want to worry about. If you think it, you know, dry up in a day, then that might be different. But that's what we're looking for, is just something that's going to stick around longer than a week. That's all it takes.
Oh, okay. Well, we appreciate your information. If people have more questions, who can they contact?
You know, the best way to reach me or somebody in the department is to call the mosquito control hotline at 367-8799. And then it would come to me, and then I can kind of field questions from there. Typically, I'm the one that can answer general questions, but if I can't, we'll figure out a way to answer them.
All right. Thank you for joining us. We always appreciate your information, Denise.
Thank you so much.
Right now we're at the Great Plains Zoo with Dan Ash, and Dan is with a special organization, and he's also here for a very special reason. Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Dan Ash. I'm the president and CEO of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And so we're a member-based organization. In order to be a member, you have to be accredited by AZA. Yep. And our accreditation standards are the gold standard in the zoological community. So if you're one of our members, then you are among the very best zoos and aquariums in the world. And Great Plains Zoo is a member.
And you are here. First of all, that's the coolest job.
It is a
'Cause
cool
I'm sure
job.
you get to travel a lot.
It's an awesome job, and I was here today, and because of the opportunity, let's see, I've gotten to feed a rhino.
Oh, cool.
Feed a giant anteater.
I don't know how cool, but okay.
Release a rehabilitated great horned owl.
Beautiful.
And see up close and personal a grizzly bear. So, I mean, how awesome is that?
How personal?
This far away. So.
Oh my goodness.
Just a piece of chain link between me and the bear. So.
All right,
yeah.
all right. That's up there on. I would love to do all of that stuff.
It is.
So, all right. So you are here for something we've been talking about a whole lot.
Yeah.
A lot of hoopla coming up.
It should be.
So if you could share, if there's someone who lives under a rock and they don't know what's happening, what's happening?
So the Great Plains Zoo is about to open a new exhibit, the Fortress of the Bears. And so, yeah, people are going to be able to come here and see 4 brown bears, 2 from Yellowstone Park, rescued from Yellowstone Park, and 2 from Alaska. So they get to see 4 of the most amazing animals in the world up close and personal. So, I mean, it's a wonderful exhibit. It's designed so that people will have access to the bears. They'll be seeing bears being bears, like digging in the ground and swimming in ponds and standing beneath waterfalls and foraging for food. And so they'll have the opportunity to really see a bear behaving like a bear and learn about what people are doing in the world to hurt bears and to care for bears, both here in the zoo and in nature.
Now you said these were all rescues.
All rescues.
Now, it was 2 and 2. Were the 2 and 2 each? Were they from the same family, or were they just found cubs?
So as each pair of bears were siblings.
That's okay.
So brother or sister, and as I understand it, the 2 that came from Yellowstone National Park, their mother was, what might be called a problem bear. She had gotten into the habit of breaking into cabins and things like that, and so they had to remove her, and the 2 cubs were the casualty of that.
Okay.
So thankfully, though, we have a great zoo, which has a great place to make a home for them.
It's beautiful. Now,
it is.
How about ages?
2 of the bears, I believe, are 3 years old.
Okay.
And the other pair are 1 year old.
So they're substantial.
They are substantial. The 3 years old are large, and the 1 year olds they look like young bears. And so the people that visit here will have the opportunity to see them grow up and become adult bears. And so people that come here multiple times over multiple years are going to really be able to see these bears as they're growing up. It is a great opportunity.
I've lived in Sioux Falls about 15 years now, and I know there were bears in the past, and it's beautiful that they're back now. And I think for a generation to be able to grow up with these bears is going to be beautiful.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're rescue bears, I think, is an important distinguishing factor too, because as we think about zoos and aquariums, so our members take excellent care of the animals that live here, but they're also taking part in the conservation of animals in nature. And as we expand the habitat for bears in and around places like Yellowstone National Park, it does create conflict with human beings. And so unfortunately, some bears like this become the casualty of that. And so we are actually helping through the Great Plains Zoo. We're helping to build social tolerance for bears so that we can enlarge their habitat in nature.
And it's so nice to know that the zoo is accredited by your organization, so that people in this community know that all of the animals are being taken care of by the highest standards.
Exactly. Our primary concern is with the care of the animals. And what I like to say is when you come to Great Plains Zoo, you're going to see a place that works for the animals, not a place where the animals work for the place. And so when you go around here, as I'm talking to keepers and vet staff here today, I mean, it's apparent they have just a wonderful relationship with the animals. So when visitors come to Great Plains Zoo, they know they're seeing animals that are receiving the best care on the planet. And they know that they're coming to a place that is helping to conserve animals in nature. We were talking about one of the zoo staff that will soon be going to Madagascar to help rescue more than 11,000 radiated tortoises that have been confiscated from the illegal trade in animals. And so the people here at Great Plains Zoo are helping to conserve animals in nature really worldwide, here locally and worldwide.
On that note, on that beautiful note, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Well, folks, that's all we have this month. If you missed anything or you want to see it again, log on to siouxfalls.org or check us out on YouTube. Once again, we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.